Hey traders, hopefully you're having a great week so far. We're going to be going over a global macro update a little bit, but for the main focus of this video, we're going to be looking at BTC and things related to the cryptocurrency market. We're going to be looking at the market cap of BTC Dominance to the top right. To the bottom right, we see the total crypto market excluding BTC, which is the total too. So we'll look at a few other things. We'll look at the volatility index, but the first thing I wanted to actually touch on is this chart right here. This is going to be the correlation between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin. And currently we do see that the correlation between these two assets is sitting at around 0.16, 0.17, but at the highest point we were above 0.3. We're just close to maybe 0.29, very close to 30% in positive correlation. So there was a point in time where there was a very high level of correlation between a very traditional risk-on asset like the S&P and Bitcoin. We do see a potential head and shoulders. We did see that back in January of 2019, but what I'd like to see happen for this head and shoulders in order for it to validate would be a potential break of around 0.15. Key level of resistance all throughout, really from 2012, from the inception of BTC. We haven't really seen a correlation on a 180-day chart at this level or at this magnitude, so definitely something to keep in mind. So now that we've discussed the correlation, let's actually look at the chart of Bitcoin. It's been very bullish after we broke out of the squeeze here. We had a very strong impulsive push break above this previous level of resistance, hold for a new level of support, creating a series of lower highs, squeezing the price, creating a descending triangle formation. We got our first impulsive push, and once you see the momentum kick in, the buyers are stepping in and really driving the price higher. We can see very clearly passing the 12K zone, which is the previous high, which is a level of resistance. And if we take it back, we are really getting exactly what we were initially looking for, which was this is the initial impulsive push to break out of this major level of resistance. We were looking at this descending either wedge or descending triangle formation there, and we were looking for, you could also look at it as a symmetrical triangle, but we saw a squeeze occurring within the market where the volatility was contracting, and we were assuming that once it starts to break to the upside, we're looking for entries on pullbacks, breaking resistances, holding as new levels of support. And right at this zone here, we were talking about that being the prime opportunity for a potential continuation pattern to the upside, and that's exactly what we got. So the potential first level target has been hit already, and now we're proceeding to move on to the next major level. So that's on the longer time frame. We do see that this zone is a pretty key zone of significance right around here, so it makes sense that there is some level of hesitation. But the next major zone is actually above the previous all-time high, sitting at around $23,000 for a single Bitcoin. So that's, in my opinion, where we're potentially heading here. It will consolidate, it will take its time, and in my personal opinion, I think that's a good thing because we're able to look for continuation patterns to the upside. So my overall bias for BTC is to the upside. I think it's bullish. I am bullish on BTC as well as many of the other alts within the cryptocurrency market. If it has very solid liquidity, I think it will follow very similar to what BTC does. So we just had a consolidation. Let's actually now break it down to the 4-hour chart. And let's take a look at the volume bars here. Lots of buy volume on the way up. And we see within the consolidation, we're still making higher lows very clearly right there. And we are even making higher highs. So overall, the trend is still holding a structural series of higher highs and higher lows. We made a very strong impulsive push, breaking the small short-term resistance right there. We could get a pullback, but my overall bias is to the upside, and I think we're going to continue to see the buyers drive the market higher. So that's going to be BTC. We're now going to look at the BTC Dominance, which is this chart right here. So right now, the BTC Dominance is sitting at around 63%. So out of the entire cryptocurrency market, Bitcoin holds 63% of the market cap. So it's a huge majority of the cryptocurrency market capitalization, and that's why we pay so much attention to what Bitcoin is doing. So what do we see right now within the chart? We saw a massive push to the upside. We're seeing a nice consolidation, which if you're looking for continuation, should have potentially held at this low, but it did not. It actually broke to the downside, creating a potential failure breakout right here. And then we're going to proceed to continue to move to the downside like we saw within this major move right here. So this is a corrective move. This entire thing right here is a corrective move. And now we're going to get our spill to then flow back to the downside. We see that potential right there. This ascending channel formation, you got our push, you got our pullback, validating the previous support as a new level of resistance before making our next leg down. So that's going to be the potential opportunity that we're going to be looking for in terms of the BTC dominance. So what we're looking for in short is this support as well as the zone of sensitivity be used as a nice level of resistance where the price is going to bounce off of that key zone, and then Bitcoin is going to continue to lose its dominance slowly to the alts because as speculators look for assets that are going to appreciate at a greater rate compared to BTC, we're going to see that market cap slowly shift towards the alts compared to Bitcoin. But I think Bitcoin will definitely play a major role in investing in cryptocurrencies for the next handful of years for sure. So now let's look at the next tool that we use for analyzing the BTC markets. We'll look at the last thing, which is a total two for the last little section here. This is going to be the BTC Volatility. We do see a series of lower highs and higher lows. There's some squeeze. We don't see that third higher low touch that ascending level of support. So we're not seeing that nice, well-respected squeeze that we'd like ideally. But what we're seeing right now is a squeeze, kind of like we saw right here. We saw a nice squeeze if we draw it like so, and then we saw this massive pop, right? So we could be seeing something along the lines of that. So let's get our bars pattern. Let's say it could potentially go something like that. We're getting our nice squeeze within our structure like so. And then we're going to get our big pop in volatility. So we don't exactly know what's going to happen in terms of volatility, but right now that's somewhat what it looks like is we're getting a squeeze in volatility. And once you start to get that expansion, we're going to get a huge move. I think at this point it's going to be to the upside. We've already seen a strong push, but there's been some cases where, like when we broke out of that $4,200 level of resistance in the 2018-2019 transition, we've had cases where the volatility was astronomically high to the upside. So that could occur again. Let's keep our eyes open for the charts. But right now, I expect BTC to move and continue forward to the upside closer to around 15K. It's around 13.75 right now. Don't think it hit 14K, at least on Bitstamp or Binance. But I do expect it to get here, hit pretty soon here. So now we're going to be looking at the total two, which is the total crypto market excluding Bitcoin. Let's look at the weekly, just understanding how far we've come. Let's look at the log chart. Let's zoom it out. We can see we were able to break out of this long-term level of resistance. We've respected it for a new level of support, and now we are looking like we're ready for blast off, in my personal opinion. So we can see key level of resistance, previous level of support, massive zone of sensitivity. We see that this strong impulsive push broke above it. We got our pullback, and now we're going to be looking to absolutely blast off with the altcoin market exploding. And that's why we're talking about Ethereum, we're talking about Link, things that have done well in the past during these moves here. We're looking for alts that have relative strength compared to other alts that we could potentially trade, looking at the liquidity, the amount of dollars that are traded within a certain time frame, and the entire project itself to some degree. If you're a shorter term swing trader, it doesn't really matter, but as long as it has liquidity and as long as you're trading on good exchanges, it doesn't really matter. But what we're looking for is relative strength, and we can see Link has done well in all these kind of mini pushes to the upside, and that's why we're looking at these two assets in particular. So major level of support that got validated. Within this zone right here, we actually see an ascending triangle formation like this. So what does this mean? It means that the buyers are able to push the price higher and higher and higher with a series of higher lows. There is a horizontal level of resistance that is sitting at around 160 billion that is holding the price from moving higher. So we're getting a squeeze from the market, and at a certain point, the market has to decide. I think the overall direction is going to be going to the upside. So I think once we start to see that 160 billion market cap break to the upside, we're going to start to see alts absolutely fly. We've seen Bitcoin be a pretty early starter in that first major impulse push. So, it's got a head start, and I think alts will follow here in either this week or definitely next week. So pretty soon, and that's why we're keeping our eyes open on things like Ethereum as well as Link. So let's look at some of those assets there. First, let's look at Ethereum. I think Ethereum's in a pretty awesome spot. Broke out of that ascending triangle formation. This is the pullback, validating this previous around $300 zone as a new level of support. And then let's just draw it in right here. It's right here. So this is our first impulsive push. This is a corrective move, and I think we're going to get our next impulsive push coming here soon. The $400 zone, $390 to $400 zone, is a major level of resistance that is now testing as a new level of support. If we are drawing trend lines, we could draw a squeeze here that has completed, creating a zone of confluence for the buyers, and even looking at the buy pressure using the Performante average volume indicator, we can see that there is significant volume accumulation occurring compared to volume distribution, where right now there are buyers purchasing this asset and holding it, compared to on the flip side, if bears were selling it and distributing it into market, trying to get rid of it. So this is an overall great sign for people who are longing, who are buying, who are investing, who think that the price is going to appreciate and move to the upside, because I think it's going to continue. This is a very nice, solid consolidation where it's pulled back. It's given some market breadth in order for the buyers to come back strong, take a little bit of a breather before our next impulsive push that potentially will look something similar to this. So that's the ideal situation we're going to be looking for. So if we go like here, that's going to be the situation, something like maybe this. That would be ideal. If we get a strong push to the upside, validating the previous major level of significance as a new level of support, and then you could potentially go like this, and once it breaks that squeeze, you're looking for that nice long opportunity. So that's going to be the trade situations that we're going to be looking for Ethereum paired with US Tether on Binance. This is the one-day chart. We can look at the 4-hour, looking at a smaller time frame to see that yes, there is a squeeze occurring with a series of lower highs. Let's just draw that trend line in right there. Go right there, making sure we are accurate with our trend lines like so. And then let's even go to the 1 hour to see if we're able to identify anything. Not really. So right now what we see is a nice level of confluence right there. I would not want to enter until we break that level of confluence. So this previous support turns into a new level of resistance, as well as this descending zone. So we're seeing a lot of sell pressure at that level. So we could consolidate here for a while. I don't want to touch it until we start breaking out of this zone. Ideally, we could see a break above 410 for the highest level of confirmation, or you could just depend that this 380, 390 zone is going to hold, and then this descending triangle formation will actually complete and then take you to the upside. That's a little bit more of a speculation. A more dependable trade, in my opinion, is waiting for this zone of confluence here to break. So you're looking for a potential consolidation further, a crack, a break breaking the previous resistance is a new level of support, and you could put a stop entry above this previous high to enter you into the trade with a stop loss above this previous low, and that would be how a potential trade would look. And then take profits would be using the geometry found right here. So if we're going to go like here, copy, and then paste it. So if that's going to be the breakout, potential take profit is around $600. So pretty solid risk reward that you're able to capture. So let's say it was right there. And let's say it's at exactly $600. Let's say your risk reward was 5.5 if you're being a little bit more conservative with the stop loss. 4.5, that's a very, very solid risk reward, and definitely a trade that I personally would be looking to take. So that's going to be Ethereum, and then we'll look at Link, and I think that's going to be the end of the video. We're going to make it very short and sweet, get directly to the point, the focus of whatever chart we're looking at. So that's going to be the chart for Ethereum, and then we'll look at Link here right now. So we'll zoom out and then look at ChainLink. XRP, on a side note, does look very good if you do have some spare time just to take a peek. I definitely recommend that if you do have some time just to take a look at the charts there. So why are we looking at Link? Well, in short, I think that we've seen Link outperform basically every single alt, and we do want to look at carrying the momentum and carrying the overall trend. So we do see this key level of around $5. Once it broke to the upside, we saw a massive surge in demand come in and buy up this asset, buy up this pair. We saw consolidation, which is acting as a new level of support from the previous level of resistance, and now we're getting a squeeze, a tightening of the contraction and volatility, and I think we're going to get our expansion very soon. So that's going to be the weekly. Looking at the daily chart, we can see a series of higher lows, lower highs contracting. We see our first impulsive push breaking the major level of confluence right there. Poorly drawn right around there. So we see our first bullish push that is breaking our zone of confluence, which is great to see. And now we are going to see if it's going to validate this zone as a new level of support. If it does hold as a new level of support, that's going to be terrific for the overall bulls, because we already know that BTC is moving to the upside. That was an extremely terrible Bitcoin chart, but we already know Bitcoin's moving up to the upside, and Link is positively correlated with Bitcoin. So assuming that Bitcoin is going to continue, we're going to be looking for long opportunities for ChainLink. It's in a pretty good spot right now. Let's look at a smaller time frame, but overall we want to identify this zone as a strong level of demand, because there's not only one but two key structural zones that we see that was already respected in a previous time frame around this $11 2010-ish level. So from the daily chart, let's now go on to the 4-hour to have a better understanding of what we are looking at here. Very well respected zone for this nice level of support. I would ideally like to see something like this, where you see a clear break of a zone and then it comes back, consolidates, you have a nice squeeze, a nice structural descending zone connecting the lower highs. You can connect them, and then you're looking for that very strong impulsive push that's going to initiate the next strong move to the upside. So it's looking pretty good. I'd like to see a little bit more consolidation, and then once you start to see that strong impulsive push with the buyers really taking charge and taking control of the market, we're going to be looking for opportunities to carry the momentum for Link, because we were looking at the total to the altcoin market, total cryptocurrency market, excluding BTC. That chart does look bullish. It looks like it's creating a either symmetrical triangle or an ascending triangle, which are both great continuation setups, and it just broke a major level of resistance and tested it for a new level of support. So in my opinion, the altcoin market is widening up to have a pretty strong breakout. We've seen BTC take the lead, take the charge, and really show significant buy pressure and confidence from the bulls, and I think that that's going to pool over into the altcoin market. And if you do not know, the Performante Premium members do get videos strictly talking about the altcoin market, looking at relative strength, looking at the different charts and the different time frames, trying to look at ideas, understanding potential outcomes that could come from the structures that we see right now, talking about it within this video. But did want to let you know that if you want to have more access of the trades that we're looking at, the potential opportunities that we're able to understand and find, definitely check out the Performante Premium subscription service that we do provide. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you found it informative, educational, entertaining, it'd be great if you would thumbs up the video and subscribe so you know, or that we know, that we should continue making more videos like this. Hopefully you had a good trading day and good trading week, and we'll see you for the next video. Until next time, have a good one, traders.